Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at Hilversum in the Netherlands.
That's right. You might know it as Hillywood or Mediatown,
Exactly, and those nicknames definitely make you curious.
for sure. And you've given us a YouTube vlog to dig into, someone exploring the town.
Yep. So our mission today is to figure out why it gets those names. What makes Hilversum so central to Dutch media will go beyond just the vlogger's trip.
Okay, sounds good. So where do they start?
Well, they jump right in, revisiting Hilversum, but it sounds like the first impressions were a bit mixed this time around.
Checks Town.
They even mentioned getting some negative tips on Instagram, like people saying there wasn't much to actually do there.
Ah, okay. So expectations might have been a bit weird from the start.
Seems like it. They felt the vibes were off on their first day, that things just weren't really, clicking for them.
That's interesting in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
What gives a place its vibe,
Right.
especially a place so linked to one industry.
Right. But even with that kind of rocky start, they did find something pretty cool for breakfast. Maudie's Broodjeswinkel.
Ah, the sandwich shop. And this place had a story.
It really did. More than just sandwiches. The building itself goes way back, like the 1920s.
Okay, so historical building. What was it before? Well, it had a few lives. It was a theater.
A theater. Wow.
Yeah, and a bowling alley at one point.
Yeah.
And importantly, for Hilversum, it was actually a training studio for the Dutch Television Foundation
No way. When was that?
back in the 50s and 60s. So, even their breakfast spot had this direct link to the town's media past.
That's amazing. Theater, bowling, TV studio. Now a bakery and rentable spaces, and apparently a good spot for train watching, too.
See? Layers of history right there. It kind of starts hinting at why this town is different.
It does. So let's get to that nickname then. Hillywood. How did the vloggers figure that one out?
Well, it seems like the realization kind of dawned on them. The main thing was discovering that almost everything filmed in the Netherlands. It happens right there.
Right there in Hilversum?
Pretty much. TV, film, radio. It's the hub, the central point for all of it.
So Hillywood or Mediatown, it's literal.
Exactly. It's where the industry lives.
Okay, so to understand that better, they headed over to the Netherlands Institute for Sound and Vision. Makes sense.
Logical next step. Yeah.
And this place is basically the National Archives, right?
Uh-huh. For Dutch TV, film, music, radio.
Yeah.
Everything media related gets preserved there.
And it also has the Media Museum inside it.
Right, the museum. You'd think that would be the place to learn all about Hilversum's media story.
You would, wouldn't you? But
What?
they had this funny, kind of ironic moment there.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
They actually got questioned about filming inside of the Media Museum itself.
You're kidding. In the media museum.
Yep. They found it pretty amusing. They were allowed to film in the end, but
Really?
their takeaway was that the museum seemed more focused on, like, teaching kids how media gets made today.
Ah, okay. Less about the history of Hilversum as the media hub. It's exactly. Less about the why Hilversum and more how TV works.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but maybe not what they were looking for right then.
Yeah.
It does make you think how archives balance that preservation stuff with, public engagement.
True. So maybe not the deep historical dive they expected there. Where did they head after that?
Food. They went to Food Hall now.
Ooh, a food hall. Sounds promising.
It sounded huge, like 7 different kitchens plus a brewery all in one place.
7 kitchens. Wow. What kind of food?
All sorts. Vietnamese, Mexican, Argentinian,
Yeah.
sushi, dim sum, Indian. A massive variety.
Okay, that sounds kind of overwhelming, actually. Decision paralysis waiting to happen.
Totally. Like a little global food court right in Mediatown.
Did anything unusual happen there besides the food choices?
Well, they mentioned being asked not to film the employees.
Really? That seems a bit odd for vloggers. They usually film everywhere.
It does, yeah. Maybe it's a Hilversum thing. Given the media focus, maybe people are more sensitive about being filmed. Or just the specific rules of that place. Hard to say.
Interesting thought. Did they try anything specific, like that brewery you mentioned?
They did. They tried a beer called Hoistlicht, almost alcohol-free.
Boy slicked.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the verdict?
They said it smelled strongly of tart grape juice, which was unexpected,
Grape juice in a beer.
apparently. But they found it light, refreshing,
Oh.
good for a warm day. It got their top rating.
Which is
5-stroke waffles. That's their system for something excellent.
5-stroke waffles. Got it. High praise. Did they eat too?
Yep, they got a Vietnamese sampler plate.
Ooh, what was on it?
Let's see, duck rolls with hoisin sauce, something called Hanoi-style lubia, and surprisingly, teriyaki chicken.
Teriyaki chicken on a Vietnamese sampler.
Yeah, they noted that too. But they really liked the duck rolls, said the fresh cucumber in them was great.
Okay, duck rolls sound good. What about the chicken?
They actually enjoyed it. Said it was fried, dark meat, well cooked, good sauce. Just, unexpected for Vietnamese.
Huh. So some hits, even with the surprises. And the beer was a winner.
Definitely. Five-stroke waffles for the beer, good reviews for the food overall.
All right. So after food, did they shift back to the sights?
They did. They went to admire the Radhuis, the city hall.
Impressions.
They were seriously impressed. Called it maybe the coolest building in the Netherlands.
High praise again. Who designed it?
It was built back in the 1920s by Willem Dudok.
Dudok. That name sounds familiar.
Right. They made the connection, the Dudok patisserie, like the famous one in Rotterdam.
Yeah, the apple pie place.
Well, the original location for that bakery was actually in a building also designed by Dudok.
No way. That's a cool link. So his style's all over.
Seems like it. He left his mark. Definitely.
Yeah.
It shows how architecture can connect places,
Totally. Okay, so day one had those off vibes, but they found some cool history and food. What about day two? Did they go back to the media theme?
They did, and the vibes were apparently much better on the second day.
Good. What was the plan?
The main goal was to really explore Media Park, the heart of it all.
Right, the place where it all happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this led them into looking at how Hilversum actually became Media Park Central. It wasn't always like this.
Oh, yeah. What was it before?
Way back, like 19th or early 20th century, it was more about textile factories, carpet making, even diamond cutting for a while.
Diamond cutting. Wow. Okay, so what changed?
The big turning point was in the early 1920s. A radio transmitter factory opened up.
Ah, radio. The start of broadcasting.
Precisely. That one factory seems to be the key, the little spark that ignited the whole media city thing. It's amazing how one industry can just reshape a town's whole identity.
So that factory opens. Then what? How does it become a whole park?
Well, it wasn't just accidental growth. Apparently, someone from that radio factory really pushed for it.
Push for what?
Lobbied to get all the different radio studios, which were scattered around the country, to consolidate in Hilversum.
Ah, bring them all together. Centralize it.
Exactly. That focused effort, that vision, eventually led to the actual groundbreaking for Media Park in 1961. And
Ugh.
it's just kept growing ever since, a whole media ecosystem.
Incredible. Just from that one factory and some smart lobbying. So what was it like actually walking through Media Park? Did it feel like the nerve center?
They said it felt very much like a dedicated work campus.
Right, like a university campus, but for media?
Yeah, buzzing with creative types, people heading into different buildings. They saw the big names, NPO, Max.
The major broadcaster.
And the NM building, apparently All Nus Radio has been recorded there since 2017.
Wow, okay. Centralized indeed.
And they saw Studio 22. That's where they tape big shows like The Voice of Holland, X Factor, those kinds of singing competitions.
So they were right there, seeing where all that Dutch TV magic happens.
Pretty much. Gave them a real sense of the scale,
Yeah.
how much is packed into that one area.
Must have been quite something. After soaking all that in, did they need another snack?
It seems like it. A classic Dutch move, they hit up a snack bar.
Of course. Where'd they go?
Place called Snackline Huisrecht. And they tried something specific, the Snackline Kroot.
Snack line. Croat, like a croquette.
Yeah, but this one was different. Filled with spiced Turkish meat.
Whoa, Turkish meat in a croquette. That's a twist.
Definitely a fusion snack. They commented on the color. It was kind of orange.
Orange, okay. And the taste.
They said you could definitely taste the spices, a bit of heat even. And they liked that it was actual meat inside, not just the usual like ragu filling you get in many Dutch croquetten.
Sounds interesting. Good interesting or weird interesting.
Good, interesting. Got another 5-stroke waffles rating.
Another 5-stroker. They were finding some good food then.
Seems so.
Yeah.
And they didn't stop there. They also got fries or patat.
Can't go wrong with the tat. Where from?
Ross patat. They described them as shoestring fries.
Ah, the thin ones. With sauce, I assume.
Of course. Andalou sauce.
Classic choice. What was the rating on the fries?
This one was interesting. They disagreed.
Oh, how so?
One of them gave it a solid 4-stroke waffles, so pretty good. But the other one wasn't as impressed.
Ah, see, even fries can be controversial. Proof that taste is subjective. Okay, so after media immersion and snack time, where did their journey take them?
They shifted gears towards nature next. Went to the Hui Nature Reserve.
Hui Nature Reserve. Sounds peaceful.
It seemed like a nice change of pace after Media Park. They said the neighborhood leading up to it was really beautiful, quiet.
And the reserve itself.
They were really struck by the trees. Exceptionally tall trees, apparently.
Hmm.
It shows there's more to Hilversum than just buildings and studios, right? There's that green space, too.
Good point. It's nice to know it has that balance. Did they visit anywhere else significant?
Yes, one more place they were keen to see, because it had been recommended before. Sanatorium Zonestral.
Zonestral. Sunshine. Sounds nice, but sanatorium. That hints at a different past.
It does. It was built also in the 1920s, believe it or not.
Another 1920s building.
Yeah. It was built for diamond cutters who had tuberculosis. That was a big industry there back then, remember?
Right, you mentioned diamond cutting earlier, so this was a treatment center.
Exactly. They were excited to finally see it. Now it's mixed use. There's a restaurant, a dentist, other businesses inside.
Wow. And another building with layers of history, adapting over time.
It's a theme there, isn't it?
It really seems to be. Okay, so history, nature. How did they wrap up the trip?
Their last stop was Hilversum Airfield.
An airfield, like for planes.
Yep. Opened back in 1939. Apparently, it used to be much busier before Lelystad Airport opened up nearby in the 70s.
Ah, okay. So mostly smaller planes now.
Seems like it. They just enjoyed watching the little planes take off and land.
See, that's kind of relaxing, actually.
Yeah, and there's a restaurant right there at the airfield. They stopped for drinks, watched the planes, said it was a great spot, busy even for a weekday afternoon.
A drink with a runway view. Nice way to end.
Agreed.
So, after all that, the initial weird vibes, the history, media park, food, nature, the airport, what was the final verdict from the vloggers on Hilversum?
Well, the overall feeling was that it's definitely a beautiful place,
Hmm.
lovely nature, nice neighborhoods,
They feel a butt coming.
but maybe fewer obvious, like tourist things to do packed into one area compared to other cities.
Okay, so not bursting with attractions, perhaps.
Right. Their advice was basically go on a nice day, maybe rent a bike, explore the nice areas, and definitely hit up that airport restaurant for a drink.
Sounds like a plan for a specific kind of visit. So let's tie this back to our mission, that Hillywood nickname. What's the core takeaway for you, looking at their whole experience?
For me, it really underlines that concentration. It's not just a nickname, it's factual. The sheer amount of Dutch media production packed into Hilversum is undeniable.
From the history they found in that old training studio to the massive active media park today.
Exactly. It wasn't an accident. It started with that radio factory, was pushed by deliberate lobbying, and now it's this huge self-contained engine for Dutch media. That's why it's Hillywood.
It's interesting how the vloggers went from feeling a bit unsure about the place to finding all these different layers, the history, the food, the nature, and then seeing the media machine up close.
Yeah, their journey kind of mirrors how you might discover the town. Maybe this surface doesn't screen tourist hotspot, but there's a lot going on under the surface and in specific areas like Media Park.
Definitely. And thinking about that concentration, it leaves you with a question, doesn't it?
It does. Like, how does having one dominant media city like Hilversum actually shape what a country watches and listens to?
Right. Does it create a certain style? Or maybe limit perspectives compared to, say, having media production spread out more across different cities?
What are the pros and cons of that kind of centralized system? It's definitely something interesting to think about, next time you're watching something from the Netherlands, maybe. Where did it really come from?